Last time on Square Roots, our hero narrowly avoids disaster when he's reminded of his lady love's birthday just in time to procure some fine jewelry. But with a little help from his friends, he produces the perfect party. Oh, and he also goes to jail for 10 years for a murder he didn't commit. Whoopsie-doodle!
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by my good friend, Johnny Purgatory Brandon.
I am here, podcasting, awake.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs. In this case, this is episode 2 of our series on Yakuza Kiwami, or Yakuza 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got the same story. They play pretty much the same.
Do you guys like this game?
I do.
I like this game a lot.
There are some problems.
Yeah.
I am having fun. And, yeah, we're playing this game. Did you do the one chunker at a time thing? I'm very tired.
Oh, yeah, we do. This is what we do on this podcast. We play classic RPGs one chunker at a time. Meaning that we play a little chunk of the game and then do a little episode on a little chunk, and then we do the next chunk and do another episode, and then we do that until we're done.
Ooh.
Like a book club, but for video games.
And this is book club session number 2. So imagine that we've all got our coffees. We've all got like a little bit of biscotti or like some kind of aperitif or crudité on a table, like coffee table in front of us.
Ooh, a nice charcuterie board.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
A cheese plate.
Oh my goodness.
It's really everything here for our little book club / game club. And
Nom, 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 nom,
we are
nom.
hoping you have played along with us to the end of Chapter 5, Purgatory. But before we get into that, why don't we just check in on everyone? See how you all
Sure.
leveled up.
That sounds good. I think you should go first, John.
Oh, well, I got access to Disney Plus from my roommate's account. He gave me his passwords.
Well, that's okay because you're a household.
It's true. So I've been watching The Mandalorian.
Ah.
I think it's pretty good. I still want to give it more time before I give a concrete opinion. I think, it's got some good and bad. I like that there's not a lot of dialogue. And, the one character on it is super adorable. By that I mean Brian Posehn. No.
You don't.
No, I don't. He gets eaten.
You mean Werner Herzog.
I literally laugh every time he talks.
I know there's such fun behind the scenes stories of working with Werner Herzog on this television show. Like there's one of him apparently like Jean Favreau came to replace the character puppet with like the CGI friendly version of it. And Werner Herzog went up to Favreau and was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, we're replacing this thing. And he goes, "Leave it, you cowards."
I'd say he is
Let it be the puppet.
he's the second best piece of stunt casting in it. Cause I think Carl Weathers as a mercenary chairman is amazing.
It's really good. And like, yeah, I never thought of that as stunt casting until I connected the Arrested Development dots.
I don't know if I just think that he's such a he's a character actor who doesn't get much work except for as silly bits, and having him in a kind of serious role is great. And having Werner Herzog in a silly space movie, or a TV show is great because you can hear his distressed voice as he seriously talks about the old ways. And I just love his delivery. He just sounds so sad and serious in this amazing way only he can do.
He was really good as the villain in that Jack Reacher movie, too.
Mr. Reacher.
So I can't really play Final Fantasy 15 while I'm editing. So what I did was I downloaded in the Xbox store that I still have there, the Game Pass. I downloaded a game called State of Decay 2, and Jim, I want you to install it on your Xbox or PC.
Why?
So we can play it together.
It's
a multiplayer game. So it's a zombie game, which sounds bad, but it's more like procedural. And it's so basically we can set up a society and it's sort of like Sims-like elements, but it's all about the multiplayer, like 3 or 4 people play at once.
Oh, that sounds fun.
I want to try it. I just want to see what it's like. Cause just trying it single player is like, I can see how this could be fun with other people, but it's kind of boring by yourself. But I love that.
So you only invite Jim to join you.
Well, you don't have an Xbox or a gaming
If only
PC.
You had 2 other friends who love to play video games.
But, I mean, you don't have an Xbox or a gaming PC.
Well, whose fault is that?
Well, you just bought a Switch.
That's true.
So you.
Yeah. I guess I made my own choices.
Because actually, you know what? I was talking about this with my Dungeons and Dragons group today, and I said that I really want to play it with the rest of the group, but also I really want to play Borderlands 2 with Vanessa, because that is super fun.
It is super fun, but it's so hard to find the time.
I know. Especially with me on my dumb night shifts.
Yeah, and me on my dumb everything else in life.
Speaking about everything else in your life, Vanessa.
Yeah.
How did you level up?
Well, I have also been watching The Mandalorian. I think it's okay. I think that it's hard to care about a character who is just a mask. I wish he would take it off so I could see his emotive eyes and expressions, but I know that it's not that kind of show. I also did not like that in the first 3 episodes there was one speaking role for a woman.
And she was wearing a mask.
And she was wearing a mask. So I hope that they will diversify a little bit, because I often find stories just about men to be boring, especially when they will not take off their helmet and you cannot tell if they are sweet or if they have floppy hair.
Well, episode 4 got all the worst people on the internet mad. So
why?
Nice.
Because of the amount of women in it who are good at doing things.
Yeah, that's like kind of the best part of it. There's actually women in it.
Like this game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's subtle, nuanced treatment of the woman.
Finally, in this chunker, we get to see women with what's the word?
Like bug carapace.
What? No, no. I mean, like that they are independent and motivated to grapple each other.
They are literally controlled by men.
That's true.
But we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Other things I did do, I went and did some wheel pottery, which I had never really done before. That's the whole ghost shebang where someone puts on Unchained Melody and then you get the wheel going and you shape the clay with your hands. I was not great at it, but I wasn't terrible at it.
Did you make an ashtray or something?
I made 4 things, but the way the workshop was set up, I'm only allowed to keep 2 of them. So I made a small trinket bowl and a mug.
Oh,
with
cool.
No handle, because handles are too hard.
Did you make a large pot for long-term grain storage?
No. Unfortunately, I was limited by the size of the lump of clay that I was given to work with. And also I was limited by my poor skills, which would mean that a lot of the clay would fall off, and so I made small items.
Were there signs that said no ghost reenactments?
I wish that there had been, because honestly, these instructors were handsy.
Oh.
Whoa, like they were putting their hands all over yours to help you shape your clay?
Yeah, that's right. Which actually was fine. It was this girl in her 20s, and she was very sweet. And she also enjoyed The Mandalorian. FYI.
Oh, fun.
So yeah, it was good. It was just 4 people. One of them was me. One of them was Vanessa's mom. That's right. It was a mother-daughter art outing. What do you think about that?
It's only a motion away.
That's right. So that was good. Jim, how did you level up?
I went to a karaoke bar the other night. I didn't perform, but I did see someone do a karaoke rendition of the 8-minute and 36-second song Master of Puppets by Metallica. And it was the worst.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it doesn't sound great.
Did they shout sing it? Or did they, like, put a bit more, like, a little bit more zazz into it?
It was yell singing.
So it was, Master!
Yes.
Master!
Yeah, it was
No.
terrible.
If you're going to do a song like that, you have to do it, like, totally Broadway style.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
Master!
Ooh, that would be great if there was, like, a lounge version of Master of Puppets.
Pulling the strings.
I bet there is a version like that. There's a band, I think they're called Lounge Against the Machine, that does lounge versions of rock songs.
That's pretty fun.
I think there's one of those songs on the Snyder version of Dawn of the Dead.
Well, I don't want you, and I don't need you. Hey.
I think there's a Down with the Sickness lounge version
Ya.
that's in a Snyder movie. But at one point, there's like a 2-minute guitar solo in this song. The guy got off stage during the solo, ordered a beer, drank it, and then made it back to the stage in time to continue singing. And
Did he do the thing where he made it back to the stage just in time?
Yes.
Like, it looked like he was just, like, swagging around, and then he just leaned over to the mic and was like, blah, blah, blah.
yeah, he'd done this before.
Oh.
You could tell. Yeah.
Oh, he's one of those guys.
Yep. But it was pretty fun. And I started playing a game on Xbox Game Pass called Rage 2.
Oh, how is it?
It's actually really good. I enjoy playing it. I don't understand what's going on in the plot at all, but like it's fun to drive your vehicle around the wasteland and find bandit outposts and clear them out, and then go do like mutant dens and clear them out, and you get lots of cool superpowery stuff, and it's a really good first-person shooter. It's a pretty good game. I like it a lot.
Sounds like a Fallout or something.
Kind of, yeah, but it was developed by id, the people that did Doom, and it's got a very Doom feel to the combat.
I did not like that 2016 Doom very much, unfortunately.
That one was a little bit, they cranked the speed up a little too much.
Yeah.
In Rage 2, they turn it down a little bit, and it's a lot more enjoyable. But, yeah, check it out if you got Game Pass, or I'm sure it's discounted somewhere for the holidays. But, yeah, that's what I did. You guys ready to, what do we call the quest log for this series?
The rap sheet.
The rap sheet. Also, spoiler alert for me, I think I may have taken the nighttime version of the cough medicine I took before we started the episode, because I'm starting to feel a little bit drowsy.
Uh-oh, but it is nighttime.
Yeah, but it kicks in pretty quick.
Nighttime is the right time, and we record pod.
Just you and I time.
Is what I'm dreaming odd.
Oh.
My Vanessa's gonna tell me about Chapter 4, an encounter where we meet a girl.
I wasn't going to, but I suppose I could.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm not the host of this show.
Who is?
Jim!
Oh,
we're all hosts. Don't put that on me.
Did we mention that Matt is on assignment until next year?
He is. Matt's, he's on a super dangerous mission in enemy territory.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't even be talking about it, but,
His cover's already blown.
Yeah.
He's actually, he's got a double life as the lead singer of the Get Up Kids.
That's true. You know what? I'm going to see the Get Up Kids on Wednesday, and I'm excited to take a photo of the band on stage and send it to Matt and be like, why aren't you singing to me?
Yeah. Why did you come to town and not tell me?
Yeah.
When we last met Kiru, he was fleeing the funeral that he had unceremoniously beat everybody else up at. He jumps into a car and he has his head down, and then he pokes his head up and he's like, "Who are you?" And the guy's like, "You don't recognize me, Akiru?" And it's Date.
Yay!
The detective who thought that Kiru was innocent, and because of that, he was punished by becoming head of organized crime investigations.
Which seems like a good... Well, I guess because you're more likely to get killed or you don't have anything to do. I don't know.
I think that the implication was that the city is so controlled by the Yakuza that he just sort of isn't allowed to actually investigate anything.
Right. Did you notice anything about Detective Date's wardrobe and what other famous character in media it kind of looks like?
He does wear a trench coat.
Mm-hmm.
Is this true? Like a detective?
Mm-hmm.
And he does wander around and then say, "Just one more thing."
Oh, that's not where I was going with it, although that is also accurate.
Oh, you must have been referring to the mystical, magical Constantine of Marvel fame.
Nope, but very close.
Who else? And trench coats.
Character Vanessa really likes.
A character I really like. Oh, you're talking about the 10th Doctor, who runs around in his Tartarus with his billowing coat flowing behind him.
Okay. Now think Misha Collins.
Misha Collins. Okay, he's that guy.
In the television show Supernatural.
Oh, you're talking about the episode where he portrays himself, Misha Collins, and gets killed in an alleyway. That was great.
I give up. So, Detective Date Detective Date takes Kiryu to Bacchus, where they sort of strategize. He knows that Kiryu is looking for Yumi. They sort of assume that there was an inside job getting the Kazama, is that his name?
Yeah.
Shot because it could have only been someone in inside the Tojo clan who would known that he was going to be in that room.
Right. And also the 10 billion yen are involved somehow.
Mm-hmm. Somehow.
Yeah. And Detective Date thinks that Yumi's probably connected to this missing 10 billion somehow.
I wasn't sure why he thought that.
He might know something that we don't know, but we learn later that he's totally right.
Mm-hmm. He is eager to work with Kiru because he says, "I've had no breaks in 10 years." And then you get out of prison and suddenly everything's like blowing up. So clearly you're at the center of this, and let's work together. And Kiru's sort of reluctant, but he's just like, I guess, okay, because Kiru can't say no to anyone.
He just wants to be told what to do.
Yeah. Well, he's a soldier.
Yeah.
And right now he's a soldier without an army.
And Date feels kind of abandoned by the police force as well, so they kind of, they have a mutual understanding.
Yeah. Then Kiru heads over to Serena, finally, to be reunited with, what's her name? Reina. And of course, Reina hasn't seen him for 10 years. They're very good friends. She cries. She throws her arms around him. Just kidding. It's Japan. She just goes, "Oh, I'm surprised to see you." And pours him a drink.
Mm-hmm. And she wonders if Kiryu has heard about Nishiki, and he has. Mm-hmm. That Nishiki has turned into like a slick 90s corporate man.
Right. But Kiryu has not heard about Mizuki. Oh. Let me tell you about Mizuki. So, Reina explains that after Yumi disappeared, this woman shows up at the bar who looked almost exactly like Yumi. And explains that she is Yumi's sister, Mizuki, who Yumi had no idea she existed because Yumi was given to the orphanage before Mizuki was born, after which Mizuki was born. You know that Mizuki is very different from Yumi because Mizuki has a flower tattoo on her chest. Mm-hmm. And once Reina explains that, Kiryu goes, "Well, Yumi would never do that." And Reina's like, "That's right, Yumi would never do that." So this is definitely for sure Mizuki.
Definitely not Yumi.
I must be stupid because I never put that together until you guys said it. But it makes total sense.
Yeah. And then Mizuki says, "My dream is to work here at this bar in the job that my sister worked in." And Reina's like, "Yep, sure, sounds fine to me." Mizuki works there for 5 years and then leaves to open her own bar, Aries. But Reina does not know where Aries is.
Why can't they? This is what's weird to me about this is, they explain that Yumi hasn't been seen since she went to the hospital after that night where that guy was trying to force himself on her.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and everybody just like expects they're gonna run into her just running down the street. Everybody's like, maybe if we go to this bar, we'll find Yumi. She's been gone for 10 years.
Yeah.
Why would you just find her? Why would you not think she's dead?
At least. Yeah.
Well, her brand new identical twin sister Mizuki might have some information about her.
Okay. Let's go find her.
So Reina's like, "I don't know where this bar is, but there's one guy. His bar's at the foot of the Millennial Tower, and he knows everything about everything. And that bar is called Bacchus."
Now, was it, and you were just there at Bacchus with Date. That's where you strategize together. Was it here where Reina says, Kiryu's like, "Well, I didn't know she had a sister," and Reina says, "It's weird that she never talked about a sister to you," and Kiryu's like, "Well, everyone has secrets." And
yeah.
And Reina's like, "Do you have secrets?" And he says, "Of course." It's something like that. It's either that she says, "Well, you have," oh no, it's the other way around. It's because he's known Yumi since she was a little kid because they were at the same orphanage. And Reina's like, "Well, it's," and Kiryu's like, "Well, it's weird that she never told me about that." And Reina's like, "Well, you have secrets, don't you?" And he says, "Yes." And she says, "Exactly."
But a sibling is a weird secret.
But they make it
keep.
seem like she doesn't. They explicitly say that there's no way she would know if she had a sister anyway. Like they're like, because Kiryu talks about how he's surprised that he didn't know, and they're like, "Oh, well, she wouldn't know either because she was separated from her family when she was a little kid."
Right.
Yeah.
Now Vanessa does maybe have some doubts about this story.
I do have some doubts about this story. Generally, if someone shows up to do the same job that their sibling did, I've never heard of them before. They look exactly like their sibling except for a tattoo. I might make some assumptions about that person.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? These people aren't idiots. Like, if it was Yumi, they for sure would just be like, "No, it was Yumi." Like, you know, if you showed up in a blonde wig, John, I'd just be like, it's John. He's wearing a blonde wig.
What if it was like when I was in college and I was trying to convince everyone I was my own twin brother because I was, I don't know, a 17-year-old idiot.
Did you?
Did you wear a blonde wig?
No, I just changed shirts, but I have a lot of terrible stories of dumb things I did as a young adult, and that is one of them.
Did you have like your friends in the living room and you were like, oh, I want you to meet my twin brother. 1 second, let me go get him. And then you walk into the bedroom and you change your shirt and then you come out. It's like, oh, hi, it's me, Ted.
Well,
I'm John's
twin brother.
That's basically Mrs. Doubtfire.
Nobody really, like, it was college, so not everyone knew me from high school anymore. So it was like you could be whoever you wanted, and I just kind of took that way too far. Mm-hmm. And no one believed me, and I just looked like an idiot.
And then people would see you on campus and they'd like cross the they cross to another sidewalk to avoid the guy who tries to make people think he's his own twin brother.
Yes, exactly.
I heard a episode of, I think, This American Life, where they talked to this kid who the first day of college, he decided to do a British accent, and then he ended up doing it for 6 months.
Have you ever seen that movie Dreamcatcher, that Stephen King movie? Where
no,
one of the
I've heard so much about it.
One of the characters is supposedly possessed by an alien, and the only difference is his character goes from talking like this to talking like this, like he's got like a Malcolm McDowell accent. It's like, I'm an alien now. It's really silly.
I don't think I have seen that one. I have seen The Langoliers.
I've seen the Tommy Knockers.
Pinchot. Who's the guy? Is it Jimmy Smits who's in Tommy Knockers?
But Bronson Pinchot one was good. That's the one.
He's great in that.
That's the one with the explicitly described space vagina in the story, right? That they have to fly the plane into at the end?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it also has Dean Stockwell in it. Is that true?
I don't know. Is he talking to a handheld PDA named Ziggy?
Yeah, he is.
Dean
And then
Stockwell
he keeps calling one character Sam the whole time, but the other characters can't see Dean Stockwell, and they call Sam something else. It's a weird movie.
He is in the Langoliers.
Nice.
Nice pull.
I told you I'd seen it.
I definitely have seen
in
it
that
too.
movie where Bronson Pinchot is in like a boardroom and he's super sweaty and he's getting yelled at by his dad in his hallucination. Cause it's a terrible scene, but it's also really funny.
What about that scene where him and his cousin are so happy about something, they have this whole elaborate dance of joy that they do?
You know, when you look up the Langoliers TV miniseries on IMDb, the first listed cast member is Tom Holland.
What?
That's what it says.
Wait, like Tom Holland, the director?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the director.
Oh, okay.
I think what other movie did he do? He did a pretty big movie. And it doesn't matter. I'm on cough medicine.
It's quite okay. So we head to Bacchus, and everyone is fine, and there are no problems.
Yeah, because you were just there. The bar was closed before, but when you leave, the cop is like, you can open up the bar now. So you expect there might be a few more people there, and there are. They are all taking a nap.
They're very sleepy.
And they're very sleepy like Jim. They took some cough medicine. I guess it was red because like they have red on the floor and like on their shirts and stuff.
Yeah,
so they were just
the bartender
really going.
fell over onto a bottle of red wine.
Yeah.
There's red wine all over.
Yeah, and everyone was just like, I guess I'll just go to sleep. So that's what's going on there. Kiro is not overly shook by this turn of events. And he hears a noise, and he creeps around the counter, and what should he see?
A gun!
Wielding. Yeah, it's a gun.
This gun is as big as this little girl. It's a huge gun.
Spoilers, it's a little girl.
Yeah, it's a little, sorry. It's a little girl, and her gun is huge. It's the size of like her torso.
Question. Where did she get the gun?
I think that it was there. That's what I'm assuming.
I think she shot everybody. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, that would be the most logical conclusion because he comes in, everyone's dead. There is one person holding a gun, and he's like, what happened? And she's like, I came here, and they were all dead. But, you know, Kiryu, he was in a similar situation not 10 years ago. And turns out he didn't shoot that guy, so he probably thought that's what happened to this girl.
Are you saying you think the little girl shot everybody?
No, I'm saying that she didn't, and Kiryu knows that she didn't because he didn't shoot. What's his name?
And also, I don't think she could hold the gun as it fired.
No, the recoil on that thing. She'd have bruises on her chest, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So Kiryu finds this kid. He's like, okay, well, let's get out of here, kid, because everyone is very dead, and probably you should not hang out here in a bar anyway. They go outside, and who should they see but a dog? Yeah.
Well, she does say, like, should we call the cops? And he's like, oh, they probably heard that.
Yeah.
There's enough of a commotion. So the game, like, goes from traumatized child found in a room full of bodies to this.
Animal abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this little pupper. It's just sitting on the street, and there's a gang of, I guess, teenagers or something. And they're playing a fun game called Throw Rock at Pupper. It's very weird, and like, what's that book? Fahrenheit 451? Where, like, all the teenagers are just plumb crazy, and they'll run you down in the street. It felt very much like that to me.
I think that's a Clockwork Orange.
Well, it's both.
I think it's the Crazies. I think it's Children of the Corn.
Yeah.
I think it's what's that movie where the like New York gangs all fight each other? The Warriors.
The Great Muppet Caper.
Yeah, the Great Muppet.
Oh, that's a great movie where they play journalists.
That is a great movie.
That's so good. That's on Disney Plus too.
Happiness, Miss Piggy. One caress, Miss Piggy.
That's the one with it's a feat of technical like cinema magic when they have Miss Piggy and Kermit ride a tandem bike together.
This is something we've never talked about on the podcast before. That
we
scene.
definitely have. Listen, I'll talk about that any opportunity.
So
all the world ever wanted was you.
So back to this game.
And then Kermit comes in where he's like, happiness, Miss Piggy. That was a terrible Kermit. Hang on.
It was great. It's beautiful.
Hi ho. Hi
ho.
Hi ho.
Hi there,
Hi-ho.
neighbor. I can't
Kermit
really do
the
it.
Frog here.
Kermit the Frog
Happiness, Miss
here.
Piggy.
Happiness, Miss Piggy.
One caress, Miss Piggy. And, oh, she's so torn between her two paramours.
One.
Oh, but that human man, he wants to fuck that pig so bad.
Yeah,
Charles
he does.
Grodin?
It is Charles
Yeah, Charles Grodin!
with Diana Rigg and her amazing fascinators. That movie made me gay, I think.
The scene where he's sitting with Diana Rigg in this club and Piggy is dancing and she's like, oh, that's my new secretary. And he just goes, she's magnificent.
I want to put my hog in that pig. Oh, brother.
There's a really, like, that's a weird thing in Muppet movies where these human characters just want to fuck Miss Piggy. Like, it's in the newest Muppet movie, the one with, like, Ty Burrell, where he's a detective that wants to have sex with Miss Piggy. And there's a joke in Muppet Treasure Island where Miss Piggy alludes to the size of, who's the dude who plays the devil in Legend?
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. He plays Long John Silver, and she calls him Long John Silver.
Well, the thing is about the Muppets.
Yeah. In the Muppet adaptation of Muppet Treasure Island.
I mean, they are sentient, so I don't think that there's an issue with Muppets and humans having a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
They're adults.
A great joke in that short-lived Muppet TV show that I really liked. The one that was out, that was sort of 30 Rock style.
Yeah, you were the one who liked it.
I was the only one who liked it. And there's a great joke about how Fozzie put up a personal ad saying he was a single bear seeking companionship. He says, yeah, I got a lot of wrong responses to that. Well, not wrong, just wrong for me.
There is an episode where Scooter, the Muppet stage manager, goes on a date with Chelsea Handler, and she tries to fuck him, but he doesn't want to.
Well, there's also that episode where they all get drunk, and it's implied that Beaker and Bunsen Honeydew hook up. And everyone's like, yeah, we knew it was going to happen someday.
What the hell?
That show was great.
It was pretty good.
Did you actually see that one, Vanessa?
I saw some of it. I didn't watch all of it because I so loved the old Muppet show, and this one just wasn't hitting the right notes for me.
But Beaker and Bunsen Honeydew hook up. Does Dr. Bunsen Honeydew remind you of John, what's his face? Judge John Hodgman.
John Hodgman. He does look like John Hodgman.
Yes.
Anyway, back to the dog being pelted by rocks, which we obviously do not want to talk about.
It's Rolf.
Except that he has a kind of, what would you call that? A moment in these, especially in like anime and stuff, or like Fist of the North Star, where a bad guy's about to kill a child or a dog or something, and then Kiryu just grabs the rock in midair.
Yeah, because he was just gonna ignore it. He's like, whatever, it's a dog.
Kiryu
Dogs
can't
suck.
ignore anything.
Yeah,
he's real bad at it.
Yeah, the little girl is like freaking out. She's like, the dog. And so he's like, oh, okay. And the teens are like, yeah, one more rock is going to kill it. Let's go. And Kiryu catches the rock. He throws it back at the thrower and conks him right in the head.
Mm-hmm. And then you get an amazing fight. And I did get to do the heat action that Jim talked about. This is how I beat these guys. I picked one of them up and then used him as a weapon to hit all the other guys. And
that ends.
Nice.
I did that too in the same fight, and it ends the fight. You do it once, and it destroys all of them.
It's fantastic. Strongly recommend. So now Haruka, you find out her name is Haruka, and she's very concerned about the dog, and she wants you to go get the dog some food. And fortunately, there's lots of convenience stores around, and everyone you talk to is suddenly telling you, you look like a man who's in need of some dog food. You know where I would get some dog food? From a convenience store, like the one around the corner.
It's this thing of this game where whatever Kiryu is interested in suddenly becomes the hottest topic in the city. Be it finding the new club or finding some dog food.
It's like when you learn a new word and suddenly you hear that new word everywhere. Nothing's changed. It's just he's noticing it for the first time.
I think everyone here is suddenly dog obsessed.
I mean, everybody's dog obsessed, John.
So you go get some food, you come back, and then the dog isn't eating that much, and Kiryu's like, oh, he probably needs some water. And you have to go back. I guess there are some options with what you can get. I bought some vitamin water. The dog didn't want it, but the dog did drink mineral water from the convenience store down the street.
I think that's what you're supposed to get is the mineral water.
Now, it says in the walkthrough that you then need to find a plate at Don Quixote. I didn't get that part. Like, when I gave him the water, Kiryu was like, oh, I guess this will work as a plate. And I don't know what I had in my inventory that worked, but I didn't have to go buy one. So I must have had something.
Maybe you had a plate.
I had like a gold plated. Oh, yeah, it must have been that thing. I had some kind of like gold plate badge thing. So I guess that's what they used. That was a fancy feast for a dog.
Yeah.
So you
But
nurse...
fancy feast is for cats.
Oh, you're right. So you nurse the doggy back to health. But what? This is like kind of in the middle of a story about rescuing a child from a murder scene, and then you stop for 20 minutes to take care of a dog?
Well, life doesn't stop just because there was a murder. Except for the person who got
Except
murdered.
for all those people in that bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just feel like this is a bit of a weird turn, story-wise.
It's a different kind of beat, but I guess it's like the comedic break.
This is to it's like a palate cleanser after you just witness that brutal crime scene.
Did you
now
have
you get to nurse a dog
Did you
back
have
to
to go
health.
get the plate as well?
I did.
Okay. So I don't know what I had. But yeah, I guess it takes a turn for the silly, and the dog's okay. Everyone's happy. You beat up a bunch of teenagers. And then Haruka, you take Haruka back to Serena because she passes out.
Yeah. And she wakes up on the couch in Serena, and her first words are, "Where's the dog?"
And I guess the
There's a
dog,
dog!
and Reina's like, "Oh, this one?" Because I guess the dog followed you back to the bar.
Yeah, but Kiryu is like such a jerk. At first he's like, "Oh, I'm sure the dog is fine."
I think it's like he legitimately doesn't know.
Yeah, he just
Because
lies to her.
he's like, oh yeah, I'm sure it's okay. Like, it seemed fine. And then they do like the surprise reveal. Oh, you mean this dog?
And Kiryu's like, "Oh, I guess it followed us." That's a thing that, like, some dads like to do. Like, they heckin' like to trick their children, so they get very upset and then, like, turn it around.
But I don't think Kiryu knew in this case. I think that it was Reina surprising them. Kiryu just like, I don't care. I have so many other things to worry about than some dog we met for 5 minutes.
That may be the case.
And,
All right, what happens next?
Well-
This is when Haruka does her big reveal.
Haruka?
Haruka, yeah.
That she knows where Mizuki works?
Yes.
Because of the letters. Because Mizuki... so this is the reveal that she's like... Because they're talking about finding Mizuki, and she's like, Mizuki? Like, my mom? Because my Aunt Yumi's been telling me all about her. And they're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
She has escaped from the orphanage because she wanted to go out and find her mom.
Yes. She's never met her mom, Mizuki, but she has met Aunt Yumi many times.
Mm-hmm.
And Aunt Yumi comes and brings her letters from Mizuki and presents and things like that.
She sounds like a great lady.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, she knows exactly where this Aries bar is, because she's like, yeah, it's in the Millennium Tower. I can guide you there.
Mm-hmm.
I have some questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
They know the name of this bar.
Yeah.
It's like 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there no yellow pages in 2005 Tokyo?
That's what I was wondering. Like, there's basic version of the internet. They can ask Jeeves, man.
It's a speakeasy, and they don't advertise.
That's true. Gotta go see that information broker.
It is like,
Which, by the way, that guy put out of business with Google, man.
it was, and there is, I guess, a special code to the elevator to even get up to the top floor.
That's right. So even if they had known where it was, without Haruka,
Yeah.
I did it.
Mm-hmm.
They would never have known where it was.
Haruka, Jamaica. Ooh, I wanna take.
Jonathan Taylor Brandon,
Yes.
you specifically told us when this series started that we were not allowed to make fun of any Japanese names,
wasn't.
and yet here you are.
I just used it as a word replacement in the song Kokomo.
Nobody mentions the Beach Boys unless they're making fun of something, John.
Yeah. Pet Sounds is one of the greatest albums of all time. Ugh.
Meow, meow, woof, woof.
There is a part of that album that does incorporate the Pet Sounds.
Oh, speaking of which, my cat just meowed.
Aww. Speaking of cats, my cat today jumped in some turquoise paint and left little cat paw prints all the way down the stairs. I had to chase the cat. I had to hold it very tight, and he got his paws washed. He was very unhappy. I do have a scratch on my arm. He is a pesky boy.
Speaking of cats, listener James Plett's cat jumped 6 feet onto a bookshelf today, not realizing there's books on top of the bookshelf, and then grabbed onto the books and then fell and had the books fall on top of it. I've never seen a cat jump 6 feet just straight up before. It was,
Wow, that's some cat.
it failed spectacularly, but that cat is very athletic and tiny. Anyway, back to the game. So on the way to the Millennium Tower, you get stopped by a police officer who's like, "So, I see you're a full-grown man. What's your relationship with this child you're walking with?" And you have a bunch of options. I said that she is not my daughter, but we are walking together. And he's like, "Well, I'm glad you were honest. Now you'll have to go back to the police station so you can explain why you two are together." What did you lie or say the truth about, Vanessa?
I said that she was my daughter because she probably heckin' is. I mean, she's definitely Yumi's daughter. And I know that Kiru and Yumi never consummated their relationship, but he did give her a ring, which was somewhat akin to a wedding ring or a promise ring. And I have no doubt that Kiru will be the one who ends up taking care of this child because this plot is not very hard to dissect.
So it's not like that one movie where the guy masturbated into a bunch of tomatoes and then a lady fell on the tomatoes and then got pregnant?
Excuse me?
Oh, never mind. I probably should not go into that anymore.
Excuse me, John?
Excuse me?
Were you a member of the production on this film?
No. It is a Quebecois film called Léolo.
Is this available on adult websites?
Nope. It's just a kid's movie, I think.
A kid's movie?
Listen,
is it on Disney Plus?
Different cultures have different standards.
But yeah, it's just like that, to answer your question.
Okay, it's a 1992 Canadian coming-of-age fantasy film by director Jean-Claude Lauzon.
No, I hate him.
All right. So anyway, but his mom is Jeanette Renault, and she's great. I love her.
Okay.
Anyway, so we head over. So did the cop? What? Oh yeah, you didn't tell me what happened with the cop there. You did tell him that she was your daughter, and then she in mind, she corrected me and said, "No, I actually am your daughter. My dad was just playing a dumb joke." And the cop's like, "Oh, what a smart little kid you have there."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was just like, "Yep, that's right."
Unlike the other man that you meet who keeps wanting to get toys for his daughter, but then he keeps implying that the daughter's not actually his daughter. It's just this hot woman he knows who likes to pretend to be his daughter. Have you met
There's
that
nothing
man?
wrong with that. I don't think I have met that man. I have heard of such a man on the internet and in other places in life. It seems to be very in vogue these days.
Hot dads?
No, this like sort of weird power dynamic with like faux parental elements and like calling your significant other daddy and things like that.
As someone who has dated recently, It is a thing.
It's a thing, right?
Oh, it's definitely a thing.
It's in style, though.
I don't remember. There's an acronym for it. It's like DDG something.
Okay, that part I don't. That's a straight thing, so I don't know what you're going on about there.
DDLG or something?
Something like that. Daddy, Dom, little girl thing. It's
yeah.
So is there not like the reverse? Are there not straight men who want like a faux mommy?
I'm sure there are.
There is, yeah. But that's not...
Stepmother pornography is the most Googled porn in the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, it's like, it's so mainstream these days that it's not even like, when you have a kink, you should talk about it and negotiate beforehand and things like that. Women these days are just whipping it out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I haven't had any personal experience with it, but I hear things.
Mm-hmm. But this guy just keeps going on about it every time, because his subquest is that he keeps asking you to get toys from the UFO catcher for him, for his daughter in quotation marks. And he keeps being like, and when I say my daughter, I mean, she's not really my daughter, but she does call me daddy. And then I forgot.
Yikes.
Okay.
Yeah. He just keeps wanting to tell you about it.
I don't want to know about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to know about Jeanette Renault and her tomatoes.
I don't want to know about any of it. All I want to know is about this grown man who wants to fuck a pig.
You mean, what was his name? Charles Grodin?
Charles Grodin?
Yes.
So we head finally to Ares, the building, and you go inside and punch in some numbers. Well, at least Haruka, she knows these from the letters. Basically, her mom told her all about like the codes to her building, the streets to take to get there. This kid's pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
She's smart. She's a good reader. She remembers codes, and you get to this like penthouse floor where the bar is. And I don't know how these bars stay open, because like Serena seems pretty nice, and apparently Reina closes it a lot of the time, and they only have like a couple of regulars. How do these bars stay open?
Well, I think it's not uncommon in Japan to have very small bars that only cater to like 6 people at a time. And also you have to remember that Japanese drinking culture is such that you drink for a heckin' long time. Mm-hmm. It's like you go to the bar and you are there for hours and spending lots and lots of money. So theoretically, if you're just one person working the bar, you can cover your costs with just one night of a couple of people heavily drinking.
I guess that's true. I did have one woman who came up to me to complain about Stardust's hosts, because her friend has been going there and is like bankrupting herself, trying to buy drinks for herself and for her host buddy.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they do.
And he's like, well, she should know what she's getting into before she goes there.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. They sort of create an emotional connection or a faux emotional connection and then encourage you to spend money. And then they're like, if you don't, they're like, oh, I thought you really liked me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're aware of it, I think it's fine. You just have to keep in mind that it's a monetary exchange. Like any kind of sex work.
Yeah, I think we talked about last episode that I think I would not handle this well. That I would be like, this really attractive man is paying me lots of attention. I think I'm falling in love with him, and I'm going to imagine us living together with our 8 other boyfriends.
Yeah, I bet he really does love me.
Yeah.
Well, I think I told you in that documentary I talked about the young men who worked at this place were saying, yeah, a lot of them say that they really want to marry us and things like that. But then they got kind of sad and they're like, I know they don't really want to. They don't actually care about me, just like I don't actually care about them.
It's just loneliness, I guess.
I guess. I don't know. I think maybe it's because men and women don't really have friendships that much in that culture. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. That's a huge overgeneralization, and I am by no means an expert on Japanese culture. Brian Pitt, write in and tell us about your time at a host club.
Whoa. Anyway, so this bar, we don't actually see much of the bar other than it looks super expensive. There's a pool in the back. You know,
It looks like a penthouse apartment.
yeah, there's like a big framed portrait of Mizuki.
Mm-hmm.
And you do see that she does have that prominent tattoo. And
That's how she knows she can't possibly be Yumi.
and Kiryu's like, well, I guess she kind of does look like Yumi a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get interrupted because, of course, you do. You can't go 5 minutes without getting in fights with someone in this game.
That's right.
Hayashi shows up, and he is from the Omi Alliance, which is like the rival gang to the Tojo, I believe.
Hard to say. I cannot keep these people straight in my mind, nor will I attempt to.
They want the little girl, and Kiryu's like, you'll have to go through me.
Mm-hmm.
Which he says a lot in this game. It's kind of his like go-to move. And so you get into a fight with this guy. This guy kind of sucks. He's annoying to fight. Hayashi.
He's quick.
Mm-hmm.
He's very quick. You have to use the right moveset against him, or else he will like counter every one of your punches. And then he so did we talk about it on air how the glowy resting works? What the bosses do, where their heads glow at a color?
No, we didn't.
So when they are like dazed and their heads glowing a color, they are regaining health. But you can switch to the same color as their head glow, and if you've unlocked in the heat unlock sphere grid, you can unlock a special move that you can do in this time that does major damage and like counteracts the health regen they're doing. Otherwise, you just have to like chip at them a bit. So the sphere grid style system is very weird because it's like you get these points as you level up, but also you get experience points, and I don't know where those go. It just keeps saying that you've got more experience points.
I think you can use them. You have to go talk to that clown, right?
That's for the CP points, which is another kind of experience point. And you get CP points for like doing little challenges in the game.
Yeah, so there's those. You can use your experience points to unlock different powers. I've done it.
I've done that too, but they aren't the same. So, you know, like there's that running tally you keep getting of saying like gain 100,000 experience points. But those don't match up to the numbers that you use to unlock things. So I don't.
Yeah, that's true. Because to unlock it, it's like 1 experience point. And I'm like, cool, I can unlock every single thing. And then it's like, you spent all your experience points.
I can't, by the end of the Coliseum, I had like 30 something. So I unlocked a ton.
Nice.
Apparently I just read this, from the clown, you can get something called a trouble finder, which points you to all the little side stories.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm going to get that because I want to find, apparently, like, there's 40 something by chapter 4 that you could have done. Mm-hmm. I've done like maybe 10.
What do they call these?
Sub-stories.
Sub-stories.
So look.
If you're looking for trouble.
For the trouble finder.
You come to the right place.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for trouble, look right in my face.
So you fight them and then get the heck out of there. Detective Date is going to take care of
my father was
Haruka,
a green-eyed lumberjack because I'm evil.
Detective Date is going to take care of Haruka, and you are going off to find an information broker. But first, you get a flashback to Nishiki talking to a doctor.
This is a flashback?
Yeah, this is back before he turned into slick 90s Nishiki. This is like wild-haired Nishiki. Talking to a doctor, and the doctor seems like a real creep.
He's a real shady character.
He's like, oh yeah, she's going to need an organ donor. And, unless you have a lot of money, it's going to be pretty hard because what I would suggest to you, given that she could go on this waiting list for years, is that you get it off the black market. And Nishiki's like, how do I do that? And he's like, you need lots of money.
It's only going to cost you 30 million yen.
Cut to Nishiki, begging his subordinate, whose name I can't remember.
The one who laughed at him in the first episode, who's like, we don't have to listen to you, you suck.
Yeah, you're just stupid Nishiki.
So Nishiki's like, gets on to like super hands and knees bowing in front of him, asking him for 30 million yen. He doesn't care how this guy gets it. And the guy's like, oh, you don't care, huh? Well, now we're talking, boss. And then he puts his
He
foot
steps on his head.
on Nishiki's head in a real humiliating manner. I'm kind of curious how this like backstory plays out, because it doesn't seem, we know that Nishiki is now really in charge. So something, I guess it's like showing how he goes crazy or something.
Something.
He couldn't bear the humiliation.
So Date says you need to find an information broker. He recommends the Florist of Sai, who is in this park in the northwestern corner of Kamurocho. And the park is full of homeless people who suddenly everyone in the town is like, ugh, that park sucks. That park's full of homeless people. Who wants to go there? Homeless people are scary.
Dog food is yesterday's news. Now everyone's talking about Homelessness Park.
Mm-hmm.
So Kiro goes to the bathroom.
This part's real weird.
It's very weird.
Go on.
So Kiro goes to the bathroom. I guess because that's the way into the park. The bathroom, I don't mean that he relieves himself. I mean that he physically goes to a restroom. He is like standing around and there's a homeless person in there. And then all of these other people come and they're like, hey, we don't want Yakuza around here. Get the heck out of here.
They all pull guns on him.
Yeah. And then he says who he is, and the homeless guy is like, oh, okay, let him through.
And you see that there's a security camera, and someone has been watching him.
The whole time he was in the bathroom, he was being filmed. And then the homeless man opens a particular stall door.
You make it sound like there's a toilet cam.
It basically is.
Well... so the homeless man opens this stall door, and then on the backside is another door, and Kira goes through, and then he's in the park, which is just sort of a tent city kind of place, and he walks through there, and then he goes down these stairs, and he's in a aquarium shopping mall?
Yeah, it's like this secret underground labyrinth.
It's very fancy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like marble everywhere. Are there ladies down there?
Yeah, there's ladies. Yeah. There's like, it's like this built over a river. It's kind of like a sexy Venice down there.
Yeah. They're like geisha looking ladies. Everyone is very fancy. And he is taken to the office of the Florist of Sai.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all remember Gary from Vampire the Masquerade?
I do.
Gary was the Nosferatu, and when you arrive at his macabre dinner, he's like hiding and making fun of you. This guy pulls a total Gary. Mm-hmm. You're in his office, which is huge, full of big marble columns and a wall of aquarium tanks. And you hear his voice, but you can't see him because he's like running around hiding, like, like his voice comes from one direction. He's like, oh, Kiru, hey, no, I'm over here. Oh, look out, I'm over here now.
And then he turns his chair around and he's like, here I am.
Yeah, I was here all along.
Peekaboo cleavage for you.
Yeah, he's wearing just like a kind of a bathrobe, but it's open in front. He's a little bit chubby.
Mm-hmm. Got a cool mustache.
He's got a cool mustache, and he has all the information you need, but he will not give it to you for free because he's a businessman, so he wants you to perform a task for him first.
Would you say that he knows all the government and corporate secrets?
I think he's hacked into all of the government and corporate secrets.
Yeah, he says, I can get you this information, but it'll cost you more money than you have. So why don't you go to the Coliseum and beat up 3 dudes, and that'll get you all the money you need.
I was very interested in what your thoughts would be about Daniel Feldman.
Well, Daniel Feldman's a murderer.
Yeah.
But he's also a big man in a singlet, which is like 2 out of the 6 check marks you can get about people. He's kind of looks like The Big Show. He seems very based on The Big Show. And
He does. I never put that together.
he's dressed just like him. And he's a big beefy boy. Very happy. Although I don't think he's the most attractive man in this chunker. I would say there's another one we'll get to.
Oh, very interesting.
Very interesting. So you fight 3 people in a row. Daniel Feldman, runaway criminal. Gowan Pramuk, who's a Muay Thai fighter. And Gary Buster Holmes. Oh, we didn't talk. He's the one who lets you into the park.
Right.
And he's
very large. He's very tall. He is a black man. And his voice is digitally altered to be black.
Ooh.
It's like they did this really bad vocal distortion voice lowering thing so that he sort of has a voice like this.
They give him like a Michael Clark Duncan, or try to.
It's, well, like if you've watched anime, like a lot of times when they depict black men, that is, they do this like super deep, weird voice thing. It's not great.
Why don't they cut it out?
I don't know. You'd have to talk to anyone involved in that. We are not part of this discussion. Other than it just makes you uncomfortable. This particular vocal treatment.
There are people of non-Japanese race who do speak Japanese, and if you are going to portray them in your game, perhaps seek them out to be your voice actors.
There's a weird joke about him not using the words right, too. And Brian Pitt will have to explain to us what he means, where he says, do you want, like, inside pain or climax pain when you fight him?
Yeah.
And Kiryu's like, these words don't mean what you think they mean, but it doesn't really work in the English translation.
No.
So, question mark. I thought
please.
of the 3 fights, the Gowan Pramuk one was the hardest one.
Yeah, because he's lickety quick and kickety kick.
That's the Muay Thai guy?
Yes.
Yeah, that guy was tough.
The Gary...
I do like using the super fast fighting style myself and just doing one punch and then running around like a maniac and then punching one punch again. It's not
works.
The most efficient way.
Well, you know.
It does work.
Yeah, it works. So this is a whole cage fight thing, and you're fighting in front of, like, psychopaths, and, so when it says that the audience is full of psychopaths, it cuts to, like, this woman, like, chewing on her finger because she's so aroused by the fight the cage fight going on in front of her.
Yeah, and there's a guy in a chair, and he has, like, 3 women sitting around him, just kind of, like, rubbing him. I guess that's meant to be erotic. Maybe it was.
I don't know.
Who am I to judge? Jim?
And
was this erotic for you?
No.
Was Mesu King erotic for you?
Weirdly enough, no.
Well, I guess we'll get back to that during the bullshit minigame corner, because I have some stuff to say.
Yeah.
But one interesting thing is you have to remove any equipment. You might have bought some weapons and armor stuff by now. I had a bunch of, like, amulets I was wearing that sort of protect me from bullets and stuff. But you have to take them all off. Can't have those on. And after you win the fight, you go back to the Florist of Sai, and he says, so, your friend there, Yumi, she's the one who stole that 10 billion yen.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And
How? Why?
he's also pretty sure that Nishiki was the one who had the third chairman, Sarah, killed.
Excuse me?
And
Why would our brother Nishiki do this?
that's a good question.
And where is Nishiki? Kira took the fall for him.
We saw him.
Nishiki should be there.
Remember, we saw him at the
Reading
funeral.
him.
For a brief
Yeah.
moment.
He was like,
Embracing him.
yeah, you better fight.
Being like, my brother, I'm so happy to see you. I love you. I owe you everything that's happened to me in the past 10 years.
But then, I don't know if I don't think it's Gary Buster Holmes. But someone comes in to say, hey, Mr. Florist, you might want to check out your camera. And then you see Detective Date is there, and he's a little bit shot.
He's a little bit shot. He's stumbling through the park. And then the guy's like, well, let's find out how this happened. And just pulls up some like rando footage. Somehow I guess he backtraces him. And we see him getting into an argument with some men.
Meanwhile, the florist decides, like, yeah, so basically the police set up all these cameras around the city, but then they didn't really find them very useful. However, I find them quite useful.
Oh yeah, there's this great moment where the florist takes you down into his camera lab which is like an elevator. So you ride down and then it's just this big wall of cameras and monitors.
This is a very realistic game about
It's very
the
realistic.
world of underground crime in Tokyo.
So you're watching this video, a van pulls up, some people grab the girl, they throw her in the van, and then they shoot the cop, and when they do, Kiro acts completely shocked, even though we've just seen that he like is stumbling around with a bullet wound, but Kiro's like, oh my god, they shot him.
And then
It's like,
you
yeah,
cut back to real-time cameras, and Date is being cornered by a bunch of homeless people.
They do not like him. They say that he has put them in prison. He, I guess, probably harasses them when they're trying to sleep on the street. He's just, doing cop stuff. Which I wasn't thrilled that this game was equating homeless people with criminals. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of stuff in this game. Like, I think we could do a little problematic corner and talk about maybe what you feel is the weirdest thing in the game.
It's just lazy. There's lazy, like, archetypes in this game.
This part isn't great, the whole homeless camp stuff. So you run upstairs to save your friend, because they're all mad, because they're like, hey, you gave me a ticket here last year. And they all start beating up on poor Detective Date, and you have to, once again, Kiryu yourself into the situation and say, if you want to fight him, first you'll have to get through me. And
they're, as everyone does when he does this, they're like, but there's so many of us and just one of you. You're dumb.
And then he picks up one of them and then hits all their friends with them. His best move, although the car door move is also very good.
Yeah, Kodor is good.
Or where he takes the bicycle wheel and then smashes it over the head of someone.
There's a fight. I fought Majima in a part in chapter, I think it was chapter 4, and I slammed him down. I took him over my head, slammed him down onto the top of his skull, and he like froze there like he was doing a headstand for a second and then fell over.
So you now fight these homeless people and then rescue poor Detective Date, who is a little bit shot. And then you have to go find Majima, because it was his henchman that kidnapped Haruka.
What?
Yeah, they kidnapped poor Haruka and shoved her in that van. So
How can this be?
you get a little bit of info saying that you, is it the florist that tells you that he went off to the batting cage?
Yes.
Yeah, so you head off to the batting cage.
Why would Majima do this?
Oh, he's a bad guy.
He's not. He's Kiru's best friend, and he loves him.
Well, you get to the batting cage, and Kiryu's best friend is there with his buddies, and they're like, and I forget what Majima says, but it makes all his buddies laugh. Majima's like, I didn't tell you to laugh at me. And then proceeds to take a baseball bat and murder one of his buddies.
Majima is a little bit tightly wound. He really needs an outlet for all of his aggression.
I think he might have a secret inside him that's trying to get out, trying to come out, if you will, that he isn't quite ready to reveal.
Yeah.
He's maybe got a lot of thoughts and desires he's not entirely comfortable with.
I see. He's worried that his men will judge him.
So, you get a look at all these henchmen, including one really cute dude. I don't know, there's this one guy with a cute baby face who, he comes up again later, but you, get into a fight with Majima, because Majima's like, I'm going to, first Kiryu asks him to give back the kid, and he's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fight you, because I've been waiting to see how you're doing. The bit of dialogue here makes it seem like they haven't fought, and that's because this dialogue is from the original release of the game, where there is no Majima everywhere system. So you haven't fought him since you were in prison.
Interesting.
And he murders his buddy and then goes after you in quite an exciting combat sequence. And this is a tough fight.
It is.
Because you
have to mash buttons very much and drink many shakes and drinks.
Got all his henchmen there, too.
I was down to the last drink in my inventory by the end of this fight.
Whoa.
Golly.
I was getting a little nervous. You take out the henchman, then you take out Mr. Majima, and then this is where that henchman that I find very cute grabs a knife and runs at you.
No,
but
cutie.
Majima's like, I'm going to stand in the way of this because nobody kills Kiryu-chan except for me.
Yeah. Sort of like the Joker, I guess?
A little bit. And he gets super stabbed, and then everyone's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
What do we do? What do we do?
God.
What do we do?
We gotta call the cops. And Haruka was hiding in the back. She got saved by a mysterious stranger, she tells you later at Serena, who told her that the pendant she has was worth 10 billion yen.
Whoa.
That's crazy. So she took the yen, she melted it down into a pendant, and she gave it to the little girl.
I guess this is the pendant that her mother gave her.
Yeah.
And so you get back there. I guess Date's feeling he's recovered enough from being shot that he's there making jokes. And he's like, oh, there's a keyhole in this pendant. Why don't we go ahead and break it open? And Haruka and Reina are both like, no! It's a gift from my mom.
That's her precious keepsake.
So I need to find that key.
And maybe we will. Next time on Square Roots.
Ooh.
Nice transition.
Thank you. Flawless, right? Natural. Felt good. I liked that.
Regular shock jock.
All right, shock jock.
Oh.
What about the bullshit minigame corner? Oh boy.
John's bullshit minigame corner. Here we go.
Yo, this game is weird.
Someone told me that there's there's Outrun in this game, but I looked it up. There are no arcade games in this game, which is very sad. There is, however, Mesu King. Mesu King is a card game, I guess like a Pokemon a bit.
Kind of. It's like a Pokemon with rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, it's like a Pokemon if you're a pervert.
There's kids in this town Love it. Before we get into it, did anyone do any UFO catching for that man and his daughter?
I love the UFO catcher. It is my favorite minigame. I wish the whole game was just the UFO catcher.
I wish UFO catchers were this easy in real life.
I'm very good at UFO catchers.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. I just am. The trick is to move it vertical or on the horizontal axis to where you want it to be. Let's call it the XY axis. And then you want to put your head around the side and look at it from the side when you go backwards or forwards.
That's what the game does too.
Yeah.
The camera goes to the side when you move it back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
There's, this guy's now asked me to get some other kinds of dolls, like a woo-woo doll or something. Name something weird.
Mm-hmm.
But all I could find in the UFO catcher was, ones from that Super Monkey Ball game. It's just all...
In Zero, you could talk to the guy who works at the arcade and ask him to restock the UFO catcher, and that would change what was in there.
Oh, I thought maybe I just had to go to a different arcade, because there's a bunch of Club Segas.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't done it enough in this game to know if you can talk to the guy, but I would definitely give it a shot, because I suspect that's the case.
Now, I kind of wanted Jim to be here for this, but maybe he'll be back in a second. We can...
Maybe.
So, Mesu King is it's a bug battle game with like Pokemon style cards. There's attack cards. There's a wrestler card. Mm-hmm. And the way that you imagine the fights happening as you do your card game is via imagining these kind of, I wouldn't call them thick. Well, yeah, you could call them thick.
Is this what's happening? Is it in the imagination? I thought it was the thing that they were playing behind them and they stuck the card in there somehow.
Maybe. You might be right. Yeah, because I know a bunch of, that's a big thing in Japanese arcades is games that use QR codes and stuff.
That's what I thought was happening, but maybe that wouldn't have been happening at the time.
No, I think you are right. I think you're right. I was just thinking a bit more innocently that this is how people imagined their cards fighting.
No, you are doing this activity with a child. Please tell us about the game.
So, you pick a fighter, and the fighter is a thick, strong woman, dressed like a bug, and you can get rhino beetles and wasps and locusts and stuff.
So you're talking like the Ant-Man costume or the Wasp costume, like a nice full body bug costume, maybe with a couple.
It's like a G-string and a tiny little bikini, and then like a little headpiece for indicating what animal they are. And there are lots of shots going right up their butt and right in their cleavage. Lots of grappling. They fight by sexy wrestling together. Mm-hmm. And it seems a bit weird for the boys and girls that play it to be playing this game. I say boys and girls because the second person you fight, you have the professor, and then there's the first matches against a really dumb kid who keeps only using rock over and over. Mm-hmm. And then the second opponent after that is a girl. So it's a child. They're still children. And this game doesn't seem super, I wouldn't call it pornographic because it's not pornographic, but it's
meant to titillate.
And here's the thing. This is kind of what I wanted to get at. I don't think this is necessarily bad. I think it's maybe bad in the context of there are no women in this game who aren't like wayfish and shrinking violets. Like there are no women with agency in this game. Mm-hmm. So I think if you put this in the context of a game with lots of cool women characters and part two, if you could have like floppy haired boys or beefy boys or lots of different types of sexy wrestlers, I think that I would enjoy this a lot. I feel kind of bummed that I am, because of my taste in both gender and type, that it is not represented whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not against adult content in adult games. And again, the Japanese perspective on sexuality is very different and in some ways probably superior to our Western hang-ups. But I do not like this.
Well, is this really that different than Benny Hill?
What?
Is this particular section any different than Benny Hill sketches that are just like women's breasts bouncing?
I don't like Benny Hill either, but thank you for asking.
But I do feel like if this had big beefy dudes doing this in a tittle, now you might say, but John, there are plenty of games with big beefy dudes wrestling. I'd say yes, but it is not presented in a titillating manner as this game is. And
that's right.
There are pornographic games with big beefy dudes, but it's just them with their dicks out, which I don't like either. So I just wish that it had this, like there is no gay equivalent of this level of titillation, but not pornography that I find like is right in my sweet spot for, I like this kind of stuff. I just wish that there was content aimed at me like this.
Yeah, I agree. You often hear from comic book fans when women complain about the way that women are drawn or clothed or something. Well, there are just as many men in tight clothes, but those are male power fantasy drawings, not meant to titillate a female audience, who often, more than not, prefers a more slender profile to the big, beefy, hairy Colossus Wolverine kind of thing.
Right. And I all I gotta say to Yakuza designers is put in some beefy boys and some floppy haired boys.
Put some floppy hair boys. The floppy hair boys could even wrestle the beefy boys sometimes.
I think that would work for everyone.
Everyone would love it.
And yeah, put little bug hats on everybody.
Jim Banks. Please talk about the audience for this bug wrestling.
They're like beetles and bugs, and it's weird. Like, they're plotting like it's a horror movie.
What?
Wow, that cough medicine has definitely kicked in.
It's scary.
What I like is when these fights are over, you see all the beetles in the audience just standing up and cheering, and then like lines of ladybugs racing around the ring. It's adorable.
It's weird. Like, you know that there's a scene in Beetlejuice where it cuts to like a bug with his leg crossed smoking a cigarette, and he waves at like the audience. That's what this reminded me of.
I do not like beetles as an animal because one time I was lying in a field of grass and I felt something crawling on me. I thought it was a bee, so I got scared. I did not move. I was a little girl. And then it started like chewing on me. Turns out it was a beetle, and it decided to just like chew on my skin.
Oh, how'd you get...
And I tried to like call for someone to come knock it off, but they didn't. And eventually I guess I moved. I didn't know what happened to me. It was a horrifying experience. And then someone had to put some salve on my back.
Aw.
Sad.
So this game is kind of fun for a mini game. Cause you keep finding new cards around the city, and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to play more of this. It's really
I really
stupid.
want to see the moves. When I get a card, I want to see the move.
You want to see the leg splitter in action.
I do. There was one really cool one that was an elbow drop where you launch the person into the air, and then when they come down, you like clothesline them as they're falling down. It's amazing.
How come we can't get Kiryu into some sexy wrestling like this?
Yeah, right?
Kiryu hates sex?
Well, that's true, actually. But boy, the camera here just wants to get, like, it's always on the thighs. It's always on the, okay, am I using this term right? Barely concealed vulvas?
Yeah.
Okay. And on the jiggly breasts. The camera, I would be totally into this if it was Beefy Boys, so I cannot criticize anyone who finds this fun.
I don't know if I'd like it if it was Floppy Boys.
Would you like it better if this was a game full of women with agency?
Yes.
But still had this sexy wrestling. But the sexy wrestling had all sorts of people in it.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that what I respond to in video games, and this is going to sound so sad, because it is, I like that oftentimes the men who you encounter when you're playing a female character really respect and admire your character.
Aw.
That's what I like.
And that's why you like Ring talking about how beautiful your sweat is.
Yeah, he's very supportive, and he believes that I can do things.
Did you know that Ring Fit Adventures is sold out in Japan?
I had no idea.
It is like a huge hit.
I think it's sold pretty well in a lot of places here. They just had one at the GameStop I went to. I think a lot of places only ordered one of them because they didn't know how well it would sell.
Right.
But it's great. It's a really good workout, and Ring is very kind.
I'm on workout 10 and I still haven't found the Renegade option to romance Drago yet.
I'm sure you'll get there.
Okay, I just have to keep working out.
I really I know I haven't even finished Ring Fit yet, and you don't really finish it. It's like there's a storyline, but then once that's done, you can just do a harder mode of exercise, and it's not so much about the story. But I really do want them to make more games that will be compatible with it.
Yeah, there's one exercise I've done that doesn't work, and it is the plank.
Oh.
It does not read my movements ever.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. It's broken. But fortunately, there's like hundreds of exercises you can do, so you can just like not choose that one.
Yeah.
Mostly. There's some leg gym sections that I think might be a problem, but it says that I'm doing it even when I'm not moving, so it's fine. I just cheese my way through that. Anyway, back to this bullshit minigame corner. I think we're done. That was, there's still some more. I know that there's like casino games. I think you can go to the batting cage and play there.
Mm-hmm. Little car racing.
Oh, I want to try that. I haven't done that at all. So yeah, well, I promise to do more before next time. And speaking of next time, we're going to finish Chapter 7.
Another couple chapters. How much do we have left in this game?
There are 13 chapters total, so 3 more episodes.
Fun.
That will take us into January, or as we like to call it, BioWary.
I think there's going to be 1 week with no episode, and that'll be Christmas week, but we'll put some bonus stuff on. We're just going to take the week off.
People are going to listen to it at Christmas anyway. They have things to do.
Yeah. Go back and listen to some other stuff. Jim.
Yeah.
What are you squarely against, other than the somatorific effects of your cough syrup?
I'm squarely against the bug audience in Mesu King. It's really weird, and I thought it was gonna be really cartoony, like the way that the girls wear the bug, like the beetle things in their heads or whatever, but they're actual bugs, and bugs are gross, and I didn't like it.
But
what about you, Vanessa?
Same. Just hard same. I do not like them. They're creepy. They're watching these human women wrestling. They're clearly getting off on it. I don't want horny bugs. Boo. John.
I am roundly for the Majima Everywhere system.
Ah.
Majima dressed like a police officer and then wanted to frisk me looking for weapons. Mm-hmm. I was very sad that I didn't have any weapons, so I went and bought one just so he could frisk me again and find the weapon.
And he's so happy when he finds it. He's like, "Oh, naughty, naughty.
Let's fight."
I don't believe he's a real police officer, though.
I think you might be right there. And so let's go into this end of our podcast. Next time we finish chapter 7 squarely again. So we've done that. Emails. We're getting a lot of emails with people's best of the decade lists that we will put into a Patreon episode. We'll have a short bonus episode on the main feed of our top 10 games of the decade, as well as maybe a what do you call that? Scare Roots. Also we have Patreon. Speaking of that Patreon, if you give us $3 a month, you can totally hear over 20 something bonus episodes.
Are there that many?
There's tons. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And we'll have a new one coming out. Did you already post it? The Outer Worlds one?
Yeah. Yeah. That was posted a week ago.
A week ago, as of the release of this podcast.
As of the release of this podcast.
As of the recording of this podcast a few hours ago.
Yes, it made it hit in November, as long as you count Hawaii time.
And we totally do.
Sure.
All right. And also for $5 a month, you can vote on upcoming games. And I think there's going to be several votes next year as, we all want to do sequels, and there's too many sequels we all want to do, so probably votes will help us choose.
2020, the year so twice we named it twice.
It's true. Another great thing about the Patreon is, no matter if you give us $1 or $8,000 a month, no one gives us $8,000 a month, we will read your name on the air. Jim, why don't you start us off?
Sure. Aaron Little,
Ooh,
Just Jerry.
Finally, Aaron is a patron. Not finally,
hey.
but
Hi,
thank
Aaron.
you.
Yeah, it took you
Aaron.
long
Thanks, Aaron.
enough, Aaron.
No, Aaron's been supporting the show for years.
Yeah, Aaron is great.
Yeah, he was one of our first listeners. So thanks, Aaron. Aaron Little, Just Jerry, Ward Childress, Armin Hammer, Matthew Casterline, Sean Walsh, Miguel Torres, Tracy Tanoff, Tentacle Violation.
Oh my.
Joseph, Vanessa's mom, Gregory, Jared Collins, Ron 2, D. Jethro, Robert T., Tyler Petty, Rusty Kamada, Adam Zimmerman, Megan Sullivan, Vanessa's mom, Benjamin Abner, Brady A. Berman, Robert M. Pollum, Nathan Poirot, Samuel Mitchell, in loving memory of Sexy Grandma, Sean Arata, Cameron Shoei, No Gods, No Masters, Chris Ryan, Fine, say everyone's name, at least it annoys Matt, Heavy Metal Jesus, Patrick W. Bears, The Mighty Monarch.
Wonder Swan, Hexagon, Galendo, David Green did it all for the Nookie. Hudson Roth, Stephen Paget, Justin Ham, Brian Stone, David Shook, Chris Penyak, Jonathan Lee, Christian Go. That's the mobile version of Christianity. Stephen Kroc, Chris Wilder, Cake Ninja, Race Jenkins, Devin Sloan, Paul Bursch, Digimon Rocks, Admit It, Mary, Queen of Scoffs, Aaron Bachman, George Brady, Amanda Douglas, Ross Hartley, Wash in the Wind, Huxley Iguana, PJ, Enns, Jordan O'Boyle, Stu Skeel, Brian Pitt, Sean Gonzalez, Joshua Bennett, Knopford, Halloween candy has turned my mouth into a desert of pain, Jameson. It's a Kiwami, Mario. It's mashed potato season. Matt Jorgensen, Jeff Rock and Roll Martian, Ryan Miller, Citrus C, Jonathan Ellsworth, Andy Best, and Jake Dickerson.
The Phantom Scofflaws of the Opera, Randy Pierce. Vanessa doesn't care how old these blood bags are, Andy Smith. Florian Jonas Kramer, Andy M. Tom to Bumpkins, Cowman Mosser, Cyril the Wolf, Everyone Toots, that one guy, Julia Zanella, Lex Averiel, I still can't do it, Dr. Stephen Stone, Breegirth, G. Bailey, Reddit is Harold Lauder, James Hostetler, Alex Dillard, Vanessa's fourth mom, Eric Garby, Michael Crawford, Desk, the strongest Yakuza, Bad Boy, Bobby Midkiff, and Vanessa's people mom.
Oh, there are 4 Vanessa's moms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Send us an email. Oh, you do that, Jim, actually. Sorry.
All right, everybody. That's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to have an email read on the air, you can send us an email to squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group, for smart, cool, very attractive people, or you can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod.
Don't forget, you can send us your top 10 games of the decade list, and we will judge you. This will be for an upcoming bonus episode. Thanks to Vincent Moretto for his metal cover of Receive You from the Yakuza Zero and Kiwami soundtrack. And thanks to Esseph for his chiptune cover of Rouge of Love. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Just as a reminder, we are playing to the end of episode 7.
Episode 7?
I mean, the end of chapter 7.
The Force Awakens.
That's a good movie.
All right, guys. 1, 2, 3, bye.
Oh, that was beautiful harmony.
It was lovely.